Huge day for Forest, and another poor one for Liverpool.
Those stats actually flatter Liverpool, because I think overall Forest certainly took their chances a lot better than Liverpool did in the final third, as they get their first win out of the relegation zone. Then for Sean Dyche's side, just taking a look then, Liverpool are 11th in the table, sitting on 18 points. Everton, for example, with a win tomorrow against United, will go level on points with Arne Slot's side. We have got quite the former Liverpool contingent with us. Don Hutchinson joins us from Spain. Steve McManaman is here.
Have a night off, Macker. You're on your holidays.
Craig Burley scored an own goal at Anfield as well. But first, let's start off.
Scored at the Cop End.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and an own goal. Stevie, what the heck was that?
Well, amongst all the problems they have, there is one place that they undoubtedly have to start and fix, and that is the back four. Because you see what Liverpool did in the first 30 minutes. Forest never got out, and then they get out once, end up scoring controversial goal, some would say, all right, I would say. But from that point, Liverpool's mentality just crumbled. 2 minutes later, Jesus had another one. That should have been a goal. Yeah. And then from there, it could have been 4 or 5 by the end of the game. And so you cannot lose 3 goals at home and beat anybody. Listen, 2 weeks ago, Forest were relegation fodder.
Yeah.
And they've just beaten Liverpool at Anfield. Does that say more about Forest, or does that say more about Liverpool? But in terms of Liverpool, he has to get them on a training field and start doing drills.
But Stevie,
boring drills.
This isn't new. They keep losing games, and he's doing nothing.
Do you know what he said after the game? He said after the game, well, I'd be more worried if we were not creating chances. Well, they only created some chances in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't really create a lot after that.
I could have played up front. The amount of touches he's had.
Igor Jesus did the bit. Huh?
All he's doing is trying to cover. He's trying to cover for some of his players. The fact that they did, for half an hour, create some chances. They could have been ahead, but they weren't. But at the end of the day, that's not what matters. What matters is you actually have to score goals. Yeah. And when you can't, you have to keep a tight ship at the back. And if you do that, there will be days where you struggle going forward, but you win 1-0. That's what good teams do. But right now, they can't keep a clean sheet. And if you're a forward, if you're in the midfield, you know, I was talking yesterday about Barcelona's midfield, how important the outcome of games is because of what the midfield do, because the back four are so high, so vulnerable. Well, it's kind of the same thing with Liverpool. The middle three, if they don't protect the back four, then we've seen all season what's going to happen. Unless and he can't really make personnel changes, so he has to get on the field and he has to drill them and bowl them to death until they get it right. Because that's the only way to do it.
They've had one good week recently. That was
Real Madrid,
Aston Villa, and Real Madrid, right? And then off the back of that, they got walloped by Man City, and they've just been walloped by Nottingham Forest. Could have been 4, might even have been 5 by Forest. That tells you that little 4 or 5 day window that they had was just a blip. It was an anomaly. He hasn't got the answers. Yeah. He can't find the answers. He was asked multiple questions after the game, which I know he's not going to come out and spill the beans. But he's you know, who's his best striker? Is it Isak? Is it just fitness with Isak? Or is it Ekitike, who's been the liveliest player for the most part, who's on the bench again? You know, who's the best? You know, even Van Dijk, if you watch Van Dijk at times during this game, he's walking around the second half shaking his head. He's part of the blame. It's not everybody else. He's part of it. You watch him for Holland against Poland in Warsaw a week or so ago. He wasn't great then either. So, you know, there's when you're, that's before we get to Mo Salah, who's not had a great start to the season, obviously. So when your star players are struggling, Konate, Van Dijk and others, then how do you expect the less experienced ones, like Kerkez and others, and obviously Szoboszlai's playing right back. So, but even at that, I'm surprised by today's performance. I thought they'd be, even though they've been struggling, I still thought there'd been more about Liverpool. It's almost akin to what we saw, not from a footballing perspective, but when we saw Eric Ten Hag's Man United lose a goal. Do you remember? They used to just crumble. And they're not quite there, Liverpool, but they're on the ropes.
Macca, there's obviously a shopping list of problems that Liverpool have at the moment. If I'm a fan, though, 40 seconds into the second half, you've got away with 1-0 going into the break. You think then's the time to come out against this Forest side, who aren't very good. Yet, it's the visitors who go 2-0 up, and everyone watching knew it was dead by then.
Yes, mate, you're right. Firstly, it's nice to see you back, mate. Nice to see you there in this chair. But also, I'm listening to the boys, and I completely agree with the legend Stevie Nicol. Of course, they're struggling at the back. They can't just get anything going at this moment in time. This was the start of an amazing run of games where, if you're a Liverpool fan, you think they're going to win today, they're going to win next week, the next 8 games, 9 games, 10 games until they meet Arsenal in January. You think they're going to go on a real good run and catch the teams who are at the top of the league, and everybody's faulting at the minute. I mean, of course, Manchester City today, Arsenal are going to play in the North London derby tomorrow, but you thought that today was the start of something where Liverpool will start a run, and today was one of the worst performances of the season. Yes, they dominated possession, but they struggled defensively, and then they couldn't get anything going up front. They were slow, they couldn't move the ball around, and it was a really... I mean, I've seen Liverpool lose this year, and I've been disappointed at times, but this was the one that left me sort of exasperated. It was an awful defeat today because it stopped everybody in its tracks. Yes, it's a difficult result after coming away from an international break, but sometimes after an international break, after a Champions League away game, sometimes you just have to be down and dirty, get the job done, and you move forward. And today, to lose at home to 3, as Bumper said today, it was just the weirdest result that I've seen in a long time.
I know Liverpool are off colour, but you reckon there's definitely something wrong with McManaman as well.
That's late.
Because when's he ever put his hand up for an 11 p.m. Saturday night appearance from Madrid?
I think he got his timings wrong.
There's something awash here.
Don, it was the manner of the defeat, isn't it, that's really concerning.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool fans wouldn't have liked the defeat against Man United, but they played well in that game. They hit the post, I think, 3 times in the game, and they created about 6 or 7 good goal-scoring opportunities today. The last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they never even looked like scoring. I mean, 2 of the back 4, Konate being one of them, all over the place. And what I didn't like, which has gone viral on social media, him actually laughing as he got substituted. That was an awful look, because he's not playing well. Kirkes, the shirt looks a bit heavy and a bit big for him. Robbo came on. I know, as Craig said, he's had a heavy week, but that was a really naive rookie error, showing Amari Hutchinson inside onto his left foot. Robbo's got to have more about him to send him on the outside. The second goal was weak from McAllister. Gakpo didn't track his man. The goals are conceding because, you know, watching the game today, Dan, if you paused that game on 30 minutes and you said Liverpool would lose 3-0 from 30 minutes, it was impossible. Because they played really well, Liverpool. They played quite well. And all of a sudden, like the guys are saying, as soon as they lose, and there's too many red flags, they're conceding goals from set plays, far too many, and they keep going behind. 6 defeats and 7 for champions. There's loads of red flags there to put Arne Slot under a little bit of pressure, or a lot of pressure. Because, as I said, there's a way to lose a game, and you can lose a game by having a real good go, and you can come out the wrong end of a 4-3 or a 3-2. Today, like Macca said, I think you're just sitting there thinking, how on earth is the team that's second bottom of the league gone to Anfield and won 3-0? It's incredible.
You know, there's one guy who I think has escaped criticism so far.
Who?
Gravenberg.
Okay.
This is a guy who, no question, after Salah and maybe Van Dijk, was Liverpool's best player last year. No question. He was in the right place all the time. He made great decisions. He started attacks. His main job is to be that block, that guy in front of the back 4 that orders the other 2 around, lets them go forward when they can, and he fills in behind, and he covers the holes. He's done none of that this year. I know he's missed a couple of games, but he absolutely has done none of that. So Craig's talking earlier about how Salah's disappeared. Van Dijk, what's going on here? Gravenberg's just another one who, as fantastic as he was last year, has completely disappeared again.
So who is this on, Macca? The fact that we see Salah, Van Dijk, Gravenberg, every Liverpool player seems to have dropped, and Arne Slot doesn't seem to be able to find the answer.
I think it's on everybody. Dan, you can have all the plaudits and the platitudes of last year. I've said this before, which we gave them. They won the league. They were amazing. We all said the same. And this year, they've they've been really disappointing. So actually, it is all of them. It's not Van Dijk, it's not Mo Salah, it's absolutely every single one of them. It's not Mo Salah and Van Dijk because they've just signed new contracts. It's not Trent Alexander-Arnold because he's just left. It's not Tyler Morton and Harvey Elliott because they've left. It's on all of them. They have to take responsibility for everything. You can take everything and get all the pats on the back and you say you're amazing, you've won the league. But when it goes the other way, you have to take the criticism. You have to say, right, it's not good enough. You're not good enough. They're not good enough. And you have to respond. And of course, the new signings maybe have not helped the team at all because, of course, new signings have come in and 5 or 6 have left. Of course, the Diogo Jota tried to do has not helped various people. Of course it hasn't. And we as outsiders, we have no idea how that's affected people. But in the end, what goes on is that how you respond to being title champions, and you have to respond to that. And actually, if you're not responding to that, as we've seen in the league table, and you're in the bottom half of the league, and you're going to fall further tomorrow once the results come on, you have to kick on. And this was the start of Liverpool's resurgence, as I said earlier on in the programme, about their fixtures, because their fixtures were so-called easier from now till January because of the teams they were facing at the bottom half of the league. And the fact that they've started off with this, you have no faith in what they're going to do going forward now. So when they go to West Ham away or Tottenham away, and then the home games, of course, that they're going to face, you in the past you thought that's 3 points, that's 3 points, that's 3 points, and now you're thinking, actually, what if they don't do that? What if they don't do this? Yeah. And that's where the Liverpool fans are starting to struggle. So that's the answers that they're going to have to put in front of everybody.
It's abysmal, isn't it? Look at that record there. I mean, it's just unacceptable. And for the, you say Liverpool were good for the first 20 minutes to half an hour, but wouldn't have Forest expected that to happen?
And there were no big chances, were there?
McAllister had that chance to Elliot Anderson, who, by the way, was excellent again for club and country. He's been brilliant, and he was really controlled in the midfield again for Nottingham Forest. But wouldn't Sean Dyche in the dressing room before the game saying, listen, expect 20 minutes of a barrage, soak it up, the crowd will start to get on the back, and then we can get at them. So in some sense that was expected for Liverpool to come out off the international break, have a bash at a team down near the relegation zone. Forest would have been expecting that, sat off, soaked it up, and then played their own game. Look, at the end of the day here, the buck has to stop with the manager. And I'll tell you why, stops with every other manager. Yeah? Guardiola last year, couldn't arrest the slide. Mikel Arteta, giving up a championship run a couple of years in a row. He's the one that carries the can. Look at the managers that have carried the can at Chelsea. Maresca's the latest, he's doing all right at the moment. The buck will stop with him. At the end of the day, there's money in the bank. Of course there is, because they won the league title last year. But the signs were already there. In the second half of last season, out the FA Cup at Plymouth, was it the Carabao Cup that they lost? Champions League, out. Won the league, but the league was done. But the form towards the end of the season sort of faltered a little bit. And at the end of the day, everybody thought the summer was so good for Liverpool in terms of who they signed that there was no point in anybody else turning up. And it's just been completely the opposite. And at the moment, the manager needs to find an answer, whether it's the personnel or on the training ground. But at the end of the day, if every other manager carries the can, then Arne Slot has to carry the can. And to be fair, he said that after the game. He said, it is up to me to find the solutions, and I am the one that's going to have to take the blame because I picked the team.
But he's not finding the solutions.
No, he's not.
6 out of 7 defeats. Your big players aren't turning up. Surely, as a coach, it's up to you to get the best out of them once again.
Well, considering the amount of games they've played, it hasn't changed the system at all. And I remember sitting here talking about Pep when Man City fell off the cliff, talking about, you've got to change something. And he's not in a position, really, where he can change a lot of the personnel. Because of injuries, certainly defensively, because of what they did in the summer, and they didn't get Guéhi at the last day of the transfer window, they were left short defensively. But there's a certain period of time where you can go, I've got to stick with this, and I've got to stick with it until we get it right. But there comes a time when you go, right, it's not, will it ever be right? And so I think he's going to have to get to the stage now where he goes, do I change the shape? because the shape he's playing with now, from a defensive point of view, forget attacking. And I know I started by saying that because at the end of the day, you have to start from a solid base and give nothing away, and then you can build. And to do that, he's going to have to flood the middle of the park. He's going to have to make it difficult for the opposition. And if that means you don't go with this supposed what they're attempting to play swashbuckling football, then that's what you've got to do.
Dan, I don't know what everybody thinks. I just hate VAR. I think it's got to a term where in the first couple of years, I was sort of getting to grips with it. I just think it now takes all the enjoyment out of it. I really do. As Craig rightly said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Regardless of whether Liverpool should have got a goal against with the Van Dijk goal last week, I thought the Murillo goal should have stood. I thought the handball goal that was disallowed should have stood. So I'm just fed up with it all, I must admit. But you're right. I don't think these decisions talk about how Liverpool plays, and if Liverpool go 1 behind to an unfortunate goal, they should be able to respond in the next 75 minutes at Anfield to countergate that. But the fact that we talk about moments nowadays instead of talking about how teams are playing, that's the bigger thing. And actually, we're now talking about moments all the time and they're now becoming excuses instead of how teams should just carry on and get. And, you know, we've all when we played, all the boys on the panel, we always come against the goal where it was unlucky and we thought it wasn't a goal. But what you have to do, you have to respond and you have to think, right, you know what, we're going to prove them wrong and try and win the game. And that's what Liverpool should have done today. And actually they couldn't, and they were well beaten today. And that's what you have to just take out of it. You have to just take, we need to be better in the next game rather than talk about a moment in the game, because of course there was plenty of time to sort that moment out.
Just one last thing, because we've spoken a lot about this game and there's so much else going on today as well. Talk to me about Isak, Maka.
Yes, I mean he's not the player that Liverpool thought they were buying. Of course, Dan, he's not fit enough. Of course he's not. But we're only still in November, and I get the fact that we talk about Isak because of his price tag. We talk about Wirtz because of his price tag, and they need to improve and they need to be better. I don't think anybody thinks that their quality is not there, but they just need to gel into the team. They need to get fit and they need to be better. And I've got no problem that they will be better. And I'm not sitting here now or standing here now talking about that they won't be, because I've played in teams where I've seen, you know, when I was at Real Madrid, we bought Zinedine Zidane, Dan, and he was the best player in the world, officially the best player in the world. And when he joined our team, we won the league the year before, and he struggled. Initially, he struggled for the first 3, 4, 5 months. You know, you were there. You know how much he struggled. And eventually, we won the Champions League, and maybe that's what will happen with Liverpool. Maybe they will become a cup team in their first year. But I've seen better players struggle than the players we are talking about. So I've got no problem because I've seen it and I've lived it. But I also know the results, and I know that they will get there in the end. It's just that it's taken a lot. It's taken a lot longer than Liverpool fans want to see. And also, the fact that Liverpool are in the bottom half of the table, it's adding more pressure to whatever happens on the team. But I know that a lot of the time it takes people a lot longer sometimes to adapt than other people.
Maka says that Isak will be Zinedine Zidane in the second half of the season. Can you buy him that?
That's what I thought.
No one ever.